What's up, folks? It's finally time to do the comparison of the two beers that J.O. Malone 3113 and myself did, the Evil Twin recipe, all 8 hopped additions, and I'll put links down to the in the more info section to John's channel and probably to his brew day where he brewed it, and to my brew day, and probably a link to the Mr. Malty post where he talks about late hopping and actually gives the recipe. When I first started studying that recipe, I didn't really understand at the time. I kind of watched and listened and read too much and didn't absorb everything before I jumped into the recipe. So when I did my clone, well, yeah, I guess it was my clone of this beer, and neither one of us have had the beer, so we don't have anything to compare it to, but we're going to compare them to each other's. But anyway, when I did mine, I did my flame out additions and then started chilling immediately. So I didn't do it in a whirlpool. John did do a whirlpool. Since that time, I have learned and read more, and I do know for a fact that you get bitterness from late hop additions. As a matter of fact, I know it's been talked about before. Go ahead and mention it again. Jamil had done one recipe. It may have been this Evil Twin recipe. I can't remember. Like I said, I've read so much. But he actually did a recipe or brewed a beer with no additions whatsoever until after flame out. All this was just whirlpool only. No boil hops at all. And lab tested, got 60 IBUs. So I know there's a big debate for some that don't think you can get any IBUs from whirlpooling only additions, but you can. Having said that, like I say, I did not whirlpool with my recipe. John did. I was going to kind of go over the recipes before I done the tasting again. The grain bill. John had 14 pounds of Maris Otter. I didn't have that much Maris Otter on hand, so I went ahead and did 8 pounds of 2-row and 3 pounds of Maris Otter, 1 pound of Victory Malt, 1 pound of Crystal 40, half a pound of Crystal 120, and 3.2 ounces of chocolate malt. That's mine. John, like I say, he did the 14 pounds of Maris Otter. He did the 1 pound, I think he might have went over a little over 1 pound of Munich. He did 9.6 ounces of Victory Malt, which I didn't do any Victory at all. I didn't have any, didn't order it. Looking at my notes here, John also did the Crystal 40, Crystal 120, and he did 5.6 ounces of pale chocolate malt, where I did regular chocolate malt. The level bond's different. His is a little bit lesser level bond, so he done his recipe, and it matched out the original gravity of the recipe as well as mine did too, for what I did. So I hope all that made sense and I didn't fumble through it too much. The hops, it's a Centennial and Amarillo. There's a 20-minute Centennial and Amarillo hop. At 20 minutes, I did 0.28 ounces of Centennial, 0.21 ounces of Amarillo. John did a half an ounce of each at 20 minutes. For 10 minutes, I did 0.55 Centennial, and he did 0.41, I did 0.55 Centennial, 0.41 Amarillo, and John did 1 ounce each of those hops at 10. And at flame out, both did 1 ounce. I think I'm looking at this right, yep. At flame out, we both did 1 ounce, and both dry hopped with 1 ounce. I didn't put that note on here, but I'm pretty sure that's what we did. And as far as the IBUs, I know my numbers seem a lot lower. I just went into Beersmith, and they had the alpha acids of their hops that they used and the total IBU for each edition, so I just matched that. So that's why I bumped my numbers down. Some of mine were a little bit higher in alpha acidity, and John's numbers, he came out with just a little bit higher IBUs total. He was like 29.6, I think, from what I've got written down here, and mine, I matched what was on the website, 23.6, so he was just a little more bitter. And again, John, he whirlpooled for 15 minutes after flame out, and then chilled. I don't remember how long it took him to chill after that. It took me, from what I remember, about 8 minutes to chill down after flame out. So I'm pretty sure that the extra IBUs he got from the extra hops that he used and his extra 15-minute whirlpool, or his 15-minute whirlpool, I didn't do one, his bitterness should be noticeable, quite noticeable. And I was trying to think if there's anything else. It was a 90-minute boil, and I'm pretty sure John did a 90-minute boil. And the reason for the 90-minute boil for these specialty grains, you want to get all those melanoidins out and get those flavors out of those crystal malts and the victories and the chocolate malt. So a good 90-minute boil will help do that. So I think that's enough blabbering. So I'm going to go in here and pop a top on one of John's beers he sent me and get one poured out of my keg, and we'll go from there. Okay, here we go. Got mine poured from the keg. John and I both kegged and bottled. Well, when I do bottle, I bottle from the keg, and he bottled this one from the keg. So I didn't pour a lot of head on that one. Actually, I've been switching around some kegs and had the pressure turned down a little bit. But it's fine. I know it's good and carbonated. So I'm gonna give John's a pour here. Yeah, looks like they're going about even on the carbonation on the head. So try to remember this. John's is on the right. I know he'd mentioned something about the color on his being a little dark, more of a leaning towards a brown hue than a red. I think. Let me grab my flashlight. I should have had this already ready, but that's another reason for the 90-minute boil, is to bring out that rich color from those grains. And maybe that's coming through. That's mine, and that's John's. But yeah, I think they're pretty daggone close. Got some congestion going on, so I'm probably not going to be able to get a good smell. And I can't articulate that well anyway. Y'all should know that. I suck at doing beer reviews. Not really getting any hop aroma from either one. Maybe just I wished I hadn't poured these so full where I could swirl them around a little bit and get it stirred up a little bit. But I'm thinking I can get a little more of the caramel notes from mine just from the smell. But it's awful close. Wow. Now I've had several glasses of mine, and I recognize that malty character right off. The crystal, and maybe just a tad bit of that chocolate coming through on my palate. I know everybody's is different. I haven't had a beer at all today. Seems like I can feel the bitterness more pronounced on John's beer already from what I can remember on mine on the tongue. This is mine. Definitely a difference in the malt. The bitterness, I swear I'm not so sure. Gosh, how can I explain this? I hate that I can't articulate what I taste. I think John's definitely has a more, I want to say a more upfront bitterness. I think mine hits you just a little bit later. I really want to say mine tastes just a little thinner. I don't know if that's because I'm getting more of a upfront bitterness with John's than I am mine. John, I definitely get more of a full mouthful of bitterness with yours. For if that's probably a sucky way of describing it, but with mine, you know, I get that malt, and then in just maybe a couple of seconds, the bitterness comes in on mine. On yours, all those flavors are coming in at once to me. I'm getting the malt, you know, those crystal flavors, just a tad bit of chocolate, but with the bitterness all together as soon as I take a sip, and I'm loving this beer. But man, I really like my beer, but if I could pick between the two, John, it's yours. 2 thumbs up, man. Yeah, if I made this beer again, when I make this beer again, because I'm definitely going to make it again, definitely I think the Whirlpool makes a huge difference. Just being an IPA guy, I guess, maybe, and that more, it's just so balanced. Like we both talked about, you don't get that harsh bitterness like you do from a 60-minute bittering edition, or you know, even a 45, or excuse me, probably a 30. But man, that, especially with Centennial, sorry, Centennial and Amarillo, and you know, we're talking back up to 10% alpha acids on these beers, so I'm just sitting here not taking a sip for a minute. I'm still getting a good lingering bitterness and those great flavors from the malts coming through. So I'm very curious to see what you have to say, John. Like I say, I'm pretty sure you can articulate what we're tasting a whole lot better than I can. Starting out, first taste, I didn't think there was that much difference, but after they've sit here and just warmed a little bit, and kind of going back and forth, yours definitely has that more rounded, a little bit more intense, a little bit more upfront bitterness than mine does. So I'm going to attribute that to the Whirlpool. So yeah, appreciate it, John. I know I've got another one of these to drink of yours. I appreciate you sending me 2 of them because I'm loving this beer. The other beers, I haven't had a chance to drink any of them because I've been painting all weekend and doing some stuff upstairs. So hopefully I might get another one in today. I'm not going to add it to this video because I know this is probably getting long and drawn out. But John, I appreciate it. I hope to see your video up soon. Cheers to Evil Twin and to Late Hopping and to Whirlpool Hops and to Beer Mail. Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming by the channel. Again, John, thank you very much. Great beer.